lie is enough to question all truths.
I really love you.
I know.
Are you ever going to tell Tony about us?
No, I couldn't possibly tell him.
But she betrayed me.
$10,000 on account.
I had to do it.
For a murder?
This one died as a result of a puncture wound to the back.
This is my story in Trinidad and Tobago.
Funny how a man could make an ass of himself, eh?
Infidelity. Can it be justified?
They say a horn is a horn if only you take it on. And this morning, after the conversation with the kids, we are very much adult in this next interview. Infidelity, the movie, will be at the Gemstone Cinema from March 25th to 27th. And this morning, joining us on set to tell us a little bit more about it, we have actress Kavita Maharajh, Rajendra Bajnathsingh, and the legendary and iconic Hansley Ajodha, director, as you say, chief cook and bottle washer.
Chief cook and bottle washer.
Director, producer, and all-around great guy joining us this morning to tell us about the film. So, ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome.
Thank you very much for having us. Thanks for the publicity.
An absolute pleasure and an honor, because some faces are familiar,
Right.
but perhaps in a different way. Back in the day, we would have met you in the TTT space itself, at least I did, and now we are seeing you behind the scenes a bit in the world of film. So before I speak to the actors themselves about their experience, tell me a little bit as to why you decided to tell us about Infidelity this morning, Mr.
Right.
Ajodha.
Well, actually I started directing way back in 1992, and frankly I find working behind the camera is certainly more rewarding than doing all the work I did in front of the camera. And besides that, I've grown so old, people don't want to see me again. So I needed to be employed. So the thing is that Infidelity is loosely based on one of my favorite plays. It's actually based on a play by Frederick Knott called Dial for Murder, who originally was an Alfred Hitchcock film, and then it was remade into a movie starring Gwyneth Paltrow and Michael Douglas called A Perfect Murder. And then there was another movie from India called Aitbad. So interestingly, Trinidad became one of the countries that decided that we were looking at it. Of course, what I did was to expand it because it was set in the living room. The play is set in the living room. I took this film and I moved it to 18 locations throughout Trinidad and Tobago, rewrote the piece, but based it. It was inspired by Dial for Murder.
Right.
And that's where we took it. I always wanted to do film, as you know. I was trained by Horace James, and who worked with the James Bond producers in Live and Let Die. He was there. He worked with Charlton Heston, Laurence Olivier, etc. And from the age of 17, he took me and he taught me all these things. And now, this is actually the only opportunity where I get to practice it. And then all these extraordinary talents, I was able to meet all these wonderful people.
Right.
And it's better to look at them work than anything else. And I love being behind the camera. The film went on last night between Gulf City, Price Plaza in Chaguanas, and One Woodbrook Place. We had some pretty famous people actually going to see it last night. I was pretty surprised so many people came out on a Thursday.
As if you are not famous yourselves. But okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, sometimes I see myself as a relic. But that's another story. But, the thing is that I was pleasantly surprised by what I saw on the big screen. Even, I found myself looking at the movie twice in one day. And, sometimes you have a tendency as a director to be nervous about your work.
I can imagine.
And it was pleasant to see, what transpired on the screen and the reactions of people in the film afterwards. And the responses were encouraging. I see Dr. Valmiki Arjun went to see it in Price Plaza.
Right.
And I was so surprised because he actually said I was the local Alfred Hitchcock. And Hitchcock...
Quite the honor.
Hitchcock is my hero, because I was influenced by Alfred Hitchcock, Orson Welles, Quentin Tarantino. I love the work of Spike Lee. and Guy Ritchie and others. So to have been described by that, by somebody of the caliber of Dr. Arjun,
Right.
was humbling. And I felt really encouraged by it.
Well, I'm glad that you're encouraged, because I know we can expect more from you if this is just, as you say, the opportunity that you have to do your directing and enjoy yourself behind the camera. But the persons in front of the camera are also here with us this morning, and I have to get some insight, because Rajendra, when we saw you when I saw you last, you were more romantic. You were in love. It was a positive experience back in the days of Westwood Park, and now this one is starkly different. Describe a little bit to me, without giving away the plot, of course, of the character's role in this one.
All right, so in this one I play Sergeant Mohammed, which is an investigating officer into what transpired. And it's a very, like you say, a new scene for me and a new character. And I'm always happy to be able to be given these opportunity to work with people like Hansley. I'm always fortunate that every instance that I worked, I was able to have very experienced people to hold my hands and carry me along. And I'm forever grateful for that, Mr. Hansley Ajodha. And so like in Westwood Park, we would have had people like Daniel De Fintala, we would have had Tony Hall, deceased now, but he helped coach me. And along my career, I have done some stage, I've done some films, I've done Moksha. That's one that we had a docudrama about AIDS, if you can remember. And then I went on to Westwood Park. But along the way, like I say, I've always worked with very experienced people who were not selfish. They were willing to share their experiences. And wherever you were coming up short, they were willing to advise you. Hansley Ajodha is in a big way one of my mentors and my friend for more than 40 years.
It's not a good thing.
So I'll tell you something. Well, we were talking about, with the students you had before, you were talking about
Alcoholics. Yeah. I thought that Sayu and I belonged to the same organization.
Nope, different organization. Different organization.
The latter part is all that's common.
Right.
No.
We just clear that up.
Yeah.
But I would like to say also, right, having worked with Hansley so long, I want to say that Hansley is actually better behind the camera than in front of the camera. And I'm not saying that because of all the things he described about being a relic, and because he is, no, I'm not saying that because of that.
You see this combination? I feel like I need to break it up.
No, but here what's going on. As far as I'm concerned here, I'm the only guest, because you're
really?
the host. She's a radio host. He's a television and radio host.
Well, let me
so
hear
I
from
am the only
Kavita
guest.
then.
So,
Kavita,
okay, no
you're likely to be the villain in this story. But this morning you might be saving us. The experience from your end, especially as the subject of the infidelity, if you will. Can you describe that to me a little briefly?
Well, my role was quite difficult because, it's something that's a reality in Trinidad and Tobago, if you want to face it or not. It's something that a lot of people go through, and it was inspiring to work with these stalwarts in the business. Me just being a radio announcer / entertainer in Trinidad and Tobago, then becoming an actress, being thrown into the ocean with all these sharks.
Deep end.
The experience was really humbling, and it was really a good one.
I want to ask specifically because, like I said, you might become the villain when people see the story.
Right. Maybe.
Were you a little intimidated when you read that script and realized, wait, this is what I'm going to be doing?
Well, during the auditions, when they told me what it was about, I was a little bit nervous, and but I always had that passion for entertaining, regardless of if it's singing, dancing, and acting. When I got the opportunity, I was like, of course,
Right.
It goes hand in hand, no problem. And when Hansley saw me on camera, he was like, Kavita, you were made for camera. And I was like, well, great. And up to just 5 minutes ago, he said it again. And, I'm just happy.
Well, last night I had one of the members of the cast in Westwood Park,
Right.
Ms. Tirazawai, and she was saying the same thing, and I agreed with her.
Nice.
Kavita is probably one of the only newcomers. We probably have a couple others, but in a main role.
Right.
And Kavita totally
Stood her
impressed
ground.
all of us. Totally impressed all of us.
I was just telling her that, she was acting for the first time, but I had seen her I happened to be walking out of the lobby of Win TV at the time, and she was on a television show where she was being interviewed. And when I saw her, I said, my God, this girl, the camera loves her. And then I asked her to come on. She said, well, she always liked acting, but she had never done it before. See the movie, see her performance, see all their performances, because we got the great Errol Blood Roberts inside there, who plays, I call him the greatest actor in Trinidad. He's the Brando of Trinidad and Tobago, even though there's a toss-up between my good buddy Michael Sherry, who worked with me on Men of Grade 2. Michael and I are firm friends. Michael actually used to stay at my home when we were shooting Men of Grade.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
He used to sleep in my living room.
And
I used to feed him and take him to the set because he couldn't drive. But coming back to it, Errol Blood Roberts is there. Dinesh Maharajh, who was also in Westwood Park with him. Dinesh is one of the finest actors. His performances, everybody's performance. Joel Joseph is inside there. He's there. Stephen Furlong, who is a singer, is acting also for the first time. And he plays a fellow called Constant. So it's a nice combination of people. What's critical? My next film is actually complete, and it's ready to come out.
Beautiful.
I think a critical thing that we need to show for our country, we do not know how lucky we are in Trinidad and Tobago. This is the best place in the world to catch you, right? If you understand what I'm saying. But we're lucky, and one of the things that we want to do on film is the same way we did it for No Boundaries. We present our people seamlessly. There's no issue of race or anything like that. We're merely interacting constantly in our daily lives, daily circumstances, daily situations.
Well, this is a full circle moment for me. You have been one of those persons that I saw on TTT first, and now we are seeing you back on the screens telling our stories just like TTT does.
Yes.
Because you at home can head over to your Gemstone Cinemas from the 21st to the 27th, and locations you have to add as well, because I know there'll be more to see Infidelity, the movie. Can you give us
There was a change with Gulf City, and this is important that our viewers hear it. We had been advertising all the time 2 to 6 p.m. They shifted it yesterday to 4:45 p.m. So Gulf City is 4:45. One Woodbrook Place is 6:30. And Chaguanas, but get in there for 6 o'clock.
Right.
Get before 6 as a matter of fact.
Definitely. Trini time to talk about one. I mean, we had to make it work.
But I just want to quickly thank a number of people, if I may.
We have about 10 seconds.
10 seconds. Okay, great. Leslie Ann Wills-Catton, Film TT.
Of course.
Ministry of Industry and Trade. Thank you so much. C15. Thank you so much. Ingrid Jara of Cinema One and Gemstone Cinemas. Thank you all so much for supporting local film, because this is Trinidad and Tobago. We'll be exporters, and we're going to be part of that whole vision of Trinidad and Tobago finding a new place in the world.
After cinema, we will do some streaming, and that's enough.
We're definitely going to find that, and we're going to be having you back for the next film. But for now, you guys, head to Gemstone Cinemas, check out their pages for the times. Infidelity, the movie, is on. Hansley Ajodha and Cash joins us this morning on the Now Morning Show to tell us more, and we thank you for your presence, and thank you for keep watching the Now Morning Show for even more things to add to your calendar. Don't go anywhere.
You're looking for plenty,